झिलमिल को रोशन बनाए आओ ज्ञान
Okay, Namaste, good evening, everyone.
Namaste, very good evening.
जी. So yesterday, let me just. Okay, I will continue from yesterday. Uh, when relationships are meaningfully recognized, then these values start flowing on their own from Jeevan. For example, when a mother has recognized her child, then motherly care starts surging by itself from her. No 5-year plan is needed for that. We don't need to find or gather values from outside. Values are inherent in Jeevan, which will get deployed when relationships are recognized. Recognition of relationships is for their purpose in family, society, systems, and coexistence. Relationships are anchored in these four ways. So, if you can see, there is a hierarchy when we are talking about the relationships. First, it's forged in the family, and thereafter, it is when the family is recognized, right? With the values and with the knowledge, then the same is reflected in the society which is knowledgeable. And then after that, the systems, I think that I would say that parivar, samaj, and then systems would be, I guess, the whole nation, or maybe,
हाँ,
बढ़िया. And coexistence is basically the whole of humanity on earth. So this is how the hierarchy is. It starts at the core, which is the family. And Babaji has said the family is the a basic family starts with two people, and that's how it gets outwardly recognizing everybody else. And thus, Sopani Vyavastha is morely focused on 10 to 100. Thus, Sopani. So this means 10 and 100. So 10 intrinsically close family members and 100 people who are in Sampark, or basically you are knowing about them, you are related to them, you are उसके साथ संबंध का निर्वाह हो रहा है. और 10 लोगों के साथ सॉरी 10 लोगों के साथ संबंध का निर्वाह हो रहा है, और 100 लोगों के साथ व्यवहार हो रहा है. मतलब you go to their homes, they are your relatives, extended family, etc. So that's how the Das Sopani Vyavastha is being understood. By chance, if anybody else wants to add, they can do so. As we said, we are all here on board and getting to know the things. So sometimes I am adding on to the things that I have understood. So that's why I'm also although it is not written here that the Sopani Vyavastha, but what the family starts out with is the two people, and then it goes on to extend to 10 people, and संबंध निर्वाह happens that 10 people, and then व्यवहार जो है वो it's with the 100 people. Okay. We need to attain mastery with this. The extent to which we attain mastery, we become capable of evidencing and meaningfulness to some extent. Thereby, we start experiencing values. Jivan evaluates the values that emanate from itself. Object value is spread everywhere, while Jivan values, human values, and established values, such as natural and magnificent activity, non-external instrument is needed for this evaluation. So I believe we have to go through this again. Object value is spread everywhere, while Jivan values, human values, and established values are inherent to Jivan. And Jivan itself performs their valuation. I think object value is spread everywhere means, does it mean that the earth is samrudh everywhere? Is that right? Maybe somebody can help me with the
Object
understand.
values means which are the outside things which are separate where, whereas जीवन values or established values are inherent to the जीवन, जो
Hmm.
कि जीवन के अंदर है, and
Hmm.
जीवन itself perform their evaluation, और
हाँ
जीवन ही उसका मूल्यांकन करता है. तो
हाँ.
ऑब्जेक्ट वैल्यूज आउटसाइड वैल्यूज की बात हो रही है, और जीवन वैल्यूज जो ह्यूमन वैल्यूज है, जो established वैल्यूज है.
ओके, ठीक है.
तो
इट
ये
इज.
स्थापित मूल्य है ना, और
हाँ
उपयोगिता मूल्य, ये दिस इज इसको ट्रांसलेट किया है इन्होंने.
हाँ हाँ.
जड़ प्रकृति में उपयोगिता मूल्य होता है,
हम्म.
जीवन में स्थापित मूल्य और शिष्ट मूल्य होता है,
हाँ.
उसको लिखा है इन्होंने.
अच्छा. ओके, बढ़िया. यस भैया, थैंक यू. नाइस ऑफ यू टू पॉप एट टाइम्स एंड हेल्प अस आउट. बढ़िया. ओके.
कोशिश करता हूँ मैं कि जब मेरे को टाइम मिले, तो आप लोग का तो रहता ही है बढ़िया.
हाँ.
तो
Yeah, we are
ये
about to finish. I think most probably in the 15 days to come, most probably we'll be completing this. We are just going at our pace, but at least we are heading somewhere.
हाँ ठीक है,
Yes.
बढ़िया.
Hmm.
उपयोगिता मूल्य, कला मूल्य, दो तरह के मूल्य होते हैं, उसको
Hmm.
ऑब्जेक्ट मूल्य बोल रहे हैं हम लोग.
Okay. बढ़िया. It is such a natural and magnificent activity. No external instrument is needed for this evaluation. It is about examining the self, by the self, and for the self. Everyone needs this. We need a way to make this possibility accessible to all humans. Education, sanskar activities are carried out on matters of law, regulation, balance, and justice only. So, इसमें संस्कार.
नियंत्रण, संतुलन,
हम्म.
न्याय,
हाँ.
है ना.
राइट.
वो आपको वो हिंदी पढ़ोगे तो क्लियर समझ में आ जाएगा, इंग्लिश पढ़ोगे
हम्म.
तो फिर यू विल गेट लॉस्ट कि अरे यार क्या हो रहा
हाँ हाँ.
है ना.
बढ़िया. Yeah. So here it's saying that it is linked with education. All this 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4, 5 activities, right, are carried out by the matters of law, regulation, balance, and justice only. So these are basically imparted through education, right? When these activities are duly carried out, Jeevan becomes awakened and capable of recognizing relationships. Humans recognize relationships for their purpose and as a result become happy. This is how we realize the taste activity of Jeevan. Okay, so according to me, what it's saying is that the Jeevan becomes awakened. Basically, the input is begotten by the Jeevan, and that is through the Nyaya Dharma and Satya. Before that, we were just with the Priyahit Labha, right? So that is basically likable, what is profitable, and what is healthy. And now we are getting this this sort of awakened word is used here when the Jivan is awakened by this, it is basically now carrying the relationships and making it fulfill them through the Nyaya Dharma and Satya. So that again is how we will become happy, resulting
And
become
actually, Bhaiya,
happy.
yesterday we were talking about, yes, we were talking about the taste value and
हाँ.
the taste value of values.
हम्म.
जैसे कि आस्वादन में एक तो रुचि मूलक हो गया, ठीक है, और यहाँ पे हमने मूल्य मूलक की बात की. तो ये
हम्म.
जो लास्ट कल से जो पैराग्राफ पढ़ रहे थे,
हम्म.
दैट वाज रिलेटेड विद द टेस्ट एक्टिविटी ऑफ जीवन विच इज
हम्म.
रिलेटेड विद द वैल्यूज.
राइट. राइट.
कुछ नीलम दीदी कहना चाह रहे.
यस.
जी, नमस्ते टू ऑल.
नमस्ते.
भैया, जो ये आप पढ़े इसको एजुकेशन, संस्कार से
हम्म.
लेकर आपने अवेकेंड का वो बताया, तो मेरे ख्याल से ये ऐसे कहना चाह रहे हैं कि जो भी whatever education will be there now
हम्म.
will be inculcating वैल्यूज जो संस्कार एक्टिविटीज है एंड
हम्म
व्हाट आर दोज एक्टिविटीज विल बी जिसमें नियम नियंत्रण संतुलन और न्याय होगा और
हम्म
जब ये एक्टिविटीज विल बी ड्यूली कैरिड आउट व्हेन दीज ऑल एक्टिविटीज मतलब व्हेन हर एक चाइल्ड में एक जीवन में ये सब चीजें
हम्म
उनके व्यवहार से पूरा हो जाएगा तो वो जीवन जागृत हो जाएगा एंड इट विल बी केपेबल ऑफ रिकग्नाइजिंग मतलब जो कहते हैं संबंध पहचानने में उनको बढ़िया हो जाएगा ऐसे है आज तक द प्रॉब्लम इज वी आर मतलब मेरी बात करूँ तो
हम्म
स्टिल नॉट एबल टू आइडेंटिफाई प्रॉपर रिलेशनशिप्स क्या है ना
हम्म
उसकी जो भैया ने कहा उसके ऑब्जेक्ट वैल्यू मतलब उसकी वस्तु मूल्य या उसकी उपयोगिता और पूरकता के हिसाब से
हम्म
not able to recognize relationships and that is why uh, ये जो नियम नियंत्रण न्याय नहीं हो पाया तो अभी एजुकेशन विल डू दैट फॉर ह्यूमंस एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई थिंक इट्स ट्राइंग टू से और जो आई मीन गणेश भैया ने कहा बढ़िया है वो कल का एक्सटेंशन है
हम्म
वो जो बताया है
राइट,
ठीक है
बढ़िया, यस, ओके, सो again, highlighting the education and the importance of it again, Babaji is always trying to bring it down and pin it down to education, right? Next activity of Jeevan is deliberation. The way of deliberation in animal consciousness is pleasure, health, and profit, while the way of deliberation for humane consciousness is justice, dharma, and truth. These are the reference points of humane living, which needs to be grasped and accepted. So, as I was just saying that न्याय धर्म and सत्य के हिसाब से the referencing points will come. Uh, as we accept these, our efforts become channelized in this direction. Thus far, whatever education or sanskar and evaluation that humans did, it was done based on their sensitivity. This didn't surface, this didn't suffice. Therefore, humane tradition could not materialize. Hence, the need is to dissolve the pleasure, health, and profit in justice, dharma, and truth in deliberation. Yeah. So it's quite easy in a way, but also then now as one has said that when you are moving to something beyond what you have in your hand, then definitely the the weaker or the smaller gets distinguished or diminished in value, and then we grasp on the higher value which we are, like for example here it's saying Nyaya Dharma and Satya, so we grasp on something based on that, right? So like I was just giving an example to when we were discussing, uh, if we have a farmland, then according to the previous mindset, we will always look at what is the most profitable in that place and grow the crops accordingly, right? But now, once you understand the whole of existence, the importance of water, the need for the natural habitats of plants and animals also, we will start creating an incubator of some sorts for the variety of the Jeevans or the plants, or we will variety of plants we will grow. Instead of just one plantation, we will be focusing on creating varieties so that there is a healthy biosphere and ecology that is conducive to something that is healthy and which is giving adding value to the produce that is coming out of that farm. Because what we have now is just for example one particular thing, and that is actually being creating the destructive force of just say pests or anything like that. But then once we understand like simple things like farming also, I keep on coming back to this because it's my sort of close to my heart. So but I do realize that how important it is to have every aspect of the elements of the earth to be part of the farm instead of just one thing. Yes, Bhaiya. Okay. So I'll continue. With the perspective of justice, prosperity replaces profit. We achieve prosperity through production with justice, while the way of accumulation leads to exploitation. By the way of exploitation, we damage ourselves and we inflict damage to the world as well. This needs to be clearly understood, accepted, and this resolve needs to be firmly established. भैया शायद आपका माइक ऑन है. We'll just try to mute from here. Okay. Yeah, so by the way of exploitation, damage ourselves and inflict damage to the world as well. This needs to be clearly understood, accepted, and with this resolve needs to be firmly established. So this line, this needs to be clearly understood and accepted, and resolve needs to be firmly established. So resolve being Nyaya, Dharma, and Satya. Any insight that we have is basically profit oriented or leads to ultimately exploitation. But the resolve of that is looking at it through existential point of view. And then, as I was saying, once we do that, we start accumulating the water in the farm, or we'll start seeing the long perspective of not throwing out or burning the carbon content that you have on the farm, and you will start composting it and converting it to black fertilizer. So that's basically the importance, if you have understood, of the microbes and bacteria in the farm and how important they are. Then we also keep a place for them. Maybe even half of our land will be used for the maintenance and for the creation of the microclimate that the farm needs for efficient or not efficient. Let's change the words, for a prospective sorry prosperous output. That means that the all the nutrients are inherent in the produce also. So that's the important part. As I was saying yesterday, the malls are having some small plants and some shrubs because they don't want to hide the names of the malls or the shops. So they don't have any trees, let alone any trees that are fruiting, because that will create the imbalance for them in their business, and everybody will be plucking the fruits from outside instead of going into the mall. And one more thing about the malls is I've noticed is that they don't have chairs anywhere to sit. So it's like they are almost telling you indirectly that you need to sit in a place where there's a cafeteria or some place like that, so that you can order something. So that's one more small of the things, that the utility is driven by the fact that they need to make money, and for that everything is made in that structure and in that order. Some of us, we also know how the cities are built. Complete over exploitation, I would say, of the land. But then once we design the cities of the future, there'll be a lot of things which we will keep in mind when we are saying that we want to build an orderly state that will be designed in a very different way. So, yeah. Therefore, there is a need for humane education. Every student will become autonomous by this, and they will have the following 6 merits. Okay, now this is going to be interesting. The students will be having autonomously these 6 merits: self-confidence, respect for excellence, balance in talent, balance in personality, social behavior, self-reliant in occupation. So each of this have actually a very, very big role. I think it's first being the self-confidence. Right now, this is what is the heart of what the mass migration of our young minds is towards, maybe the developed nations, so-called developed nations, maybe towards the cities. So basically, the self-confidence is lacking, and that lacking can be due to some simple things, like as the number 6 is self-reliance in occupation. So one is not self-reliant in occupation, maybe not confident. Again, self-confidence is lacking in doing that. Maybe no skill sets are there in that mind, young mind. So Ultimately, what they have is the books in front of them. They achieve what they can from them, the highest numbers that they can. They try and apply for the jobs according to that in the colleges, and then they from the colleges to the jobs. So uh, ultimately, just whole lot of number of students coming towards cities and going out of the country for a simple livelihood. So the merits of the child of tomorrow who is going to adhere to this new type of education system will have these six merits, and each of them has their own very useful purpose, I would say, in the lives. Respect for excellence, Shrestha ka Sanman, I guess that's what it's meaning. Balance in talent. Um, can we have somebody try to see what they mean in Hindi? I think that would be bringing more clarity.
फर्स्ट इज स्वयं में विश्वास,
Hmm.
सेकंड इज श्रेष्ठता का सम्मान। ये जो
Hmm.
ऑटोनॉमस एक्सीलेंस जो कहा है, दैट इज
Hmm.
स्वायत्त मानव बनेगा
Right, right.
एक बालक। तो वो
Hmm.
स्वायत्त मानव की छह उसका क्या है,
Attribute.
पॉइंटर्स हैं या उसके
Right.
एट्रीब्यूट्स हैं। वो है स्वयं में विश्वास, फिर
Hmm.
श्रेष्ठता का सम्मान कर पाएगा। तीसरा और
Hmm.
चौथा जो है, दैट इज प्रतिभा और व्यक्तित्व में संतुलन रहेगा।
Hmm.
पांचवा है कि वो अपने जो व्यवहार है उसमें सामाजिक हो पाएगा।
Right.
एंड सिक्स्थ वन इज दैट स्वावलंबी होगा।
Chalami, right. Okay, बढ़िया, thank you. So इसमें for in this we can see that how the mind is almost molded into the perspective of existence as a whole, and then in that retrospect, the mind is now conducive towards orderliness, because this is what is lacking right now. Since the time where the education was been changed through whatever reasons, we are seeing that the child is almost competitive in nature, is not having the balance in the mind, and rather towards exploitation almost all the time. We are seeing that we are finding the most least resilience towards any innovation, and that is because we want to exploit the bosses or exploit the workplace, and then we are finding that we are also being exploited at times, and both of the person who is employed employing and the ones who is employed, um, they are finding a sort of a balance which is not exactly driven by orderliness, but rather a sort of tug of war, of where a person can find the most easiest way out to do the least amount of work, and the boss is also trying to get the most amount of work from them, or so this is the issue that right now that we're facing with everywhere. A lot of times I've heard that new businesses, they usually have this issue, and I'm sure all of us can relate to that when we train the young minds, they suddenly have this sort of confidence of taking matters in their own hands and opening their own outlets or shops, or their own service and service rendering facilities. So we always see that there is always that fear that the employee also, if they are given the training, they will leave anytime, and that is another thing that we are always worried about, even if we do hire the people and train them. So this is also another issue in the current system, that a little bit of skill development brings forth in itself a sense of they will ask for the extra money. If they don't get it, they will leave and they'll do their own thing or something like that. So that's always the problem with workers. Yes. Such an autonomous person shall evidence resolution and prosperity in their family, which naturally gives rise to a paradigm for society and systems. Family is the foundation head of society and systems. I have seen this. It is thoroughly, uh, thoroughly practical. Then comes design of systems. Understanding gives rise to these systems as a natural consequence. So these systems basically are going to be designed naturally as a consequence. That's what I think. And the consequence being that they are how do we say it? They are knowledgeable, right? Natural gives rise to a paradigm of society, such autonomous persons, right? So basically, it's a knowledgeable person who has these six attributes and traits, and then that person will consequently naturally give birth to these kind of systems. We'll start with the family, right? Each child first receives, yes, Bobby.
Yes, Bhaiya. Just previously you had mentioned in the previous paragraph about the 10-tier system, that is the Sopaniya Vyavastha. So definitely the education then in this Jagrat Parampara would be that every child will become an autonomous person and will have these attributes, and they will be able to uh, evidence samadhan and samruddhi in their family basically, and then it will give rise to this such kind of society, राष्ट्र and वैसी systems भी होगी. तो हर एक परिवार में फिर ऐसे स्वायत्त मानव, such autonomous persons will be there in this family. So that's how that 10 tier, that is the सुपानी व्यवस्था, फिर जो जागृत परंपरा है उस तरह से ग्रेजुअली होगा. तो उसका जो आप कह रहे थे, जस्ट ये बेस मैं जस्ट कनेक्ट कर रही थी.
Yes. Maria. So it's not just going to be just that the 10 people are resolved, but they are also having these six attributes. So that is very important, that every 10 per individual or the family will also have these attributes, and indeed the 100 people who are there in acquaintance of them also will also have these six attributes. So it's like nobody is relying on anybody else. Everybody is talented in their own essence, and that is going to bring forth a society or a group of people who are literally, in the name of the word, prosperity in the all of its sense, because it's not just that they are having some stuff or they're having some prosperity in the sense of materials, but they're also, as it said here, social in behavior. So that's very crucial. What we find in today's day and age is that the elite or the elite people are having their own sort of games or their races, where they are actually creating more wealth for themselves and trying to implement systems that create more wealth for themselves, and that is also not a social behavior. But we are seeing that once a person has passed through this sort of education system, they will be also taking care of social obligations in the true sense, and not just basically classifying their meaning of society, but society as a whole, as a whole of humanity, and that is what is becoming social in its true sense, what it means. So yeah, I mean, today is what social means is we are social towards the people or the friend circles that we are acquainted with. But then puri manavta ko Babaji, the way he has written the books, I think somebody once also mentioned that it is almost written in the present tense. If I'm not mistaken, that means that all the sentences and everything are as if they are happening right now. It's going to be like this. It's like this. Then I've seen it like this, and it's going to be like this. So this is another way, a very unique way of writing. I think Pathakji said that once. It's a book that is not having any sort of future tense or past tense like that. Maybe, yeah, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a very unique way of understanding the whole thing. है ना? जी.
Yes, भैया, you also mentioned one thing, कि है ना, आपने कहा तो वो तो आज के सिस्टम में भी the children have this kind of illusion that उन वो किसी पर rely नहीं होना चाहते हैं, but I think ये जो कहना चाहते हैं बाबा जी through मध्यस्थ दर्शन is, once these education systems will be in place, आई थिंक वो रिलाय से ज्यादा वो हार्मोनियसली अपनी भागीदारी कंट्रीब्यूशन जो सोसाइटी के लिए होगा वो सुनिश्चित करेंगे. तो
Hmm. Yeah,
मतलब
yeah.
हाँ.
Yes. So as some sort of scientists also all over the world will agree on some things because they have some baseline measuring systems or baseline ways of validating some sort of laws, or they find something and they validate it, and they have their rules. So all the scientists all over the world are uniquely together in a sense. So as Babi, you have said that once the people who are recognized with this darshan, they will come together definitely for the sake of existence, and not, I don't mean the for the sake of existence in a negative way, but for the celebration of existence. I think that's the right way to put it. That to what extent can the humans add to those three orders, and indeed for the fourth order, how can they live all together harmoniously, and that will be the baseline of all the activities, all the thoughts, and all the words that are spoken, and that is going to be the ultimate कैसे करके हम लोग पूरी व्यवस्था के साथ जी सकते हैं, और कैसे संतुलन को बिगाड़े ना, how we can like for example what we have today are systems also in play which are trying to fix the problems created by the previous system. So just for example, we have plastic recycling, we have waste management and all these things. So the question now arises, if we are living on earth, why should we create the waste in the first place? The government is there to create these institutes and situations where they will create the waste processing plants and all those kind of things, and assign the funds for that, and those funds are ultimately just our forces of labor. So but if we individually take pride into the whole of existence being part of our responsibility, then we will not create those waste. Then we will not create those products that are creating waste. We will create products that are standardized, having some duration of life, having some longevity, and we will create those products that are repairable. We will create those products that are easily recyclable at the end, and not leave it to external entities to solve the problems. So yeah, indeed, responsibility will be the primordial of all the people in the future, I think, and that is very soothing in a way to understand. Yeah, so let's read ahead. Each child first receives education from their parents and guardians. This is followed by formal education at educational institutions, and finally by the seats of state and religion, which do so in their own ways. So, this is, I think, what he's saying, the way it is being done currently. We have not become humane from all this education. Now, this is thought, effort, and evidence is only so that we could become humane, and tradition of humaneness comes about. So now this thought, effort, and evidence is only so that we could become humane. So the intention or the inclination was basically to become human, but we have not become humane in this way of following the way the educational institutions are running today. The benefit this will lead to is balance in environment and establishment of justice in humankind. Now, this is about the new way of education that Babaji is prescribing. Living in justice invariably leads to orderliness. It's not such a big deal, is it? It is doable, but humans need to feel need for it. So again, a question, a rhetorical question: is it a big deal? Can't we do it? Right? Living in justice invariably leads to orderliness, and that is also needed by all humans. But all humans need to feel the need for it. So again, this is what the current pressures of be it global warming, or be it all the issues that we have, wars and all those kind of things. But this is a rhetorical question. Don't we need this orderliness, right? So that is the question put upon the humanity of as a whole for today. Whatever humans have accomplished thus far is based on their sensitivity, but this approach cannot satisfy our true need. On the contrary, our sensitivity driven actions have ruined Earth, and in the process doomed the human race. Therefore, if humans are to thrive, and will have then they will have to recognize humaneness. So again, we are still surviving. We are, every one of us, we don't know orderliness, then we are still surviving. Humaneness means it leads to thriving. and that is actually one of the very, not just one, but the only way to live in harmony, in coexistence with existence. They will have to live in harmony, humane orderliness, which alone has the possibility of continuity. The present pressing issue is that crimes against the environment should stop. So, very sensitive towards the environment. I think Babaji has clearly understood that existence is primed through all the three orders that are previous to our coming. So he cannot be called out to be an environmentalist, but he's actually just a realistic person, as in he sees that without the environment, without the biosphere, that is basically the oceans and the land and the air, if those three entities are poisoned as we see them, then there is no future for humanity. So yeah, so he's basically concerned for the humans, and then he's saying that the humans are actually dependent on the biosphere, and so then becomes the environment becomes the pressing issue, as it said here, and crimes against this environment should stop, right? And it's not going to stop by planting trees or, like, clearing the oceans of the plastic and all those things that are just very minuscule. जिसको कहते हैं ना हम लोग, इसको कहते, like, we are trying to fix something with super glue. It is bound to break. We need to have some sort of orderliness within us, and that will create systems in play that will now be the stronghold or the backbone of the righteous activities and the righteous thought process. Until then, we are just fixing the problem of the previous system, and that is only going to create circles and circles of infinite other problems. Simple example is the car. Now we are going to have the electric cars. Now we are seeing that the whole grid is overburdened because we are still relying on fossil fuels for our energy source. We are also converting to solar, but then again, solar is there for just like maybe 8 to 10 hours at tops at its highest peak, and that is also we cannot even say the highest peak. The highest peak is approximately just 3 to 4 hours when the sun is up above the horizon completely on and above us. So solar is completely just there for a couple of 3 to 4 hours. After that, other sources of energy are being relied upon, and this is also the issue that we are trying to fix something by creating another problem. Yes, Bobby.
Yes, Bhaiya. Actually, this paragraph Babaji has also said, which is the issue and what should be done. Basically, that is the crimes against the environment should stop. बट वो कैसे होगा, आपने बहुत अच्छे से रखा, और उसको उन्होंने 2-3 लाइंस पहले बहुत अच्छा, वो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है वो लाइन, वो लिखा है कि if humans are to thrive, then they will have to recognize humanness.
Right.
तो ये मतलब हाईलाइट है आज का कि ह्यूमननेस को, पहले तो हम ह्यूमंस है, हमारा क्या रोल है उसको पहचानने का, फिर देन द मानवीयता जो कहना चाह रहे हैं उसको देखना, तो मानवीयता कैसे होगी, टू फर्स्ट देन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज दिस अस्तित्व, देन द सह अस्तित्व, तो ही हम उसको, मतलब ये पूरा खुल रहा है, ये 2-3 लाइन से ही पूरा ये
Yes.
दर्शन समझ में आ रहा, कनेक्ट हो रहा है.
Hmm. I couldn't agree more. Even for example, we have an issue with our phone. Like we are facing the issue that we need to have another phone for recording purpose and all that. So just by going through this darshan for a couple of months, I am seeing myself that I am more inclined towards looking at websites that are giving it a second hand mobiles or something like that. Simply because I know that if I go for a new model or a new version or a new piece, that would actually encourage the market forces to keep on producing. So small things, small gestures like this also, if we come into the orderliness factor, we will see that we have changed our way, our patterns of behavior, also of purchasing, it changes. And I'm sure that you would also agree, we are also so lenient at clothes and all those kind of malls that have these places, we are looking at the utility of the cloth rather than the functionality and the utility being its function. So we're looking at that first instead of the outlook or the color or the anything for that matter. So it's almost complete a wiping the slate of all the previous notions of how to choose something, and now we are choosing it basically on being humane, how we don't leave behind a footprint of carbon. uh, Even for example, we are thinking of buying a car, and now we are looking at electric cars which are in second hand. Instead of buying something new, why don't we just buy somebody who has discarded the electric car for whatever reason? It might be just simply that their car is so small, so now they're selling it off or whatever. But to the nature, it is a number. Now one car is there out there to sell simply because that they are not going to use it, and now we are still creating more cars. And indeed, if we look at it, there are enough cars on the road, in the showrooms or whatever it is. But we are still I'm talking about the cars which are also second hand, but they are just there to sell. But we are not buying them just because of that new car smell, or the fact that the car will not have any issues or any problems after that. But we have to weigh all these things, how we are going forward, and so many small things have to be addressed, and this is how we will go forward. And as we become more sensitive, we will become more down to earth, we will become more uh, alert to these kind of issues that are pressing towards, as Babaji said, the environment itself. If it's ruined, then how will any Jeevan come to understand existence if they don't even have the body to support it, right? So it's very important to have the preservation of the environment at what's the word they've used? Uh, Basically, I think it's doomed, and the human race ruined the earth. So yeah, it is very important for the crimes that, as Babaji has said, the word he has used is crimes. The present pressing issue is that the crimes against the environment should stop. But yeah. So humans systems are in the form of participation in education and sanskar, participation in justice and security, participation in production and work, participation in exchange and reserve, participation in health and restraint. So this again, if Bobby, if you have the book in Hindi, um, Shiksha Samiti,
शिक्षा संस्कार में हमारा भागीदारी, देन न्याय सुरक्षा, उत्पादन कार्य और विनिमय कोश, एंड स्वास्थ्य संयम.
Great, Badhiya, thank you. So these are the ones which we are need to focus on. The human systems are in the form of. So these are going to be the human systems. Uh, Basically, we are seeing that where we need to work on is, we can say that these are the five way. Are they in hierarchy again? Can we say that the education शिक्षा समिति को ऊपर पहले काम करना है? I believe so, because but of course everything is needed. It's not that we cannot leave out health, for example, and then focus on education. So I think parallelly we can do a lot of things together. Also
This is
production and
parallel,
work has
not
to be.
hierarchical.
Ah, right. Hey, बढ़िया. Okay, participation in all these five systems itself is participation in orderliness, right? So we said all five, right? So that's parallel basically. Such orderliness arises and is evidenced in each human upon awakening. So this is what orderliness comes in the mind which is awakened, or rather the Jivan which is awakened, right? This completes the summarized view of orderliness which every wise person can accept. So, as you said, humankind can be one, and that sentence is not accepted readily. But if uh, every human is in orderliness, then they will accept this. Every wise person can accept this, which is these five uh, systems, basically, right? So very nicely put and very prompt. qualification of who a wise person will be, they will be focused on these 5 systems. Any issue is considered under research or exploration stage until it is fully understood. We already know how to disseminate the outcome of research or exploration by way of education sanskar. The first priority, therefore, is disseminating the fruits of this exploration. The teachers who adapt in academic methods, right behavior, logic of wisdom and science will disseminate this understanding. Being adept means having definitive understanding. After definitive understanding is attained, one evidences it with one's own tendency, effort, and need. So basically, if we are understood, then we are going to have our own effort. We will be have in there we are having those tendencies, as I said just earlier. Our inclination will be towards what is there already, and try to reuse it and recycle it or something like that, so that our efforts and our tendency will be towards that uh, sort of uh, uh, act, or rather every action that we do will be according to those orderliness, that orderliness basically, right? The need for evidence is inherent in every human. uh, how will you remain quiet after you have felt the absolute need for evidence? You will also become evidence. To begin with, I achieved this understanding by way of exploration. Others will achieve it from me academically. After this study, one becomes responsible upon attaining enlightenment. Evidencing is imminent after enlightenment. So, we, as the beacons of hope, for example, we can be said to be enlightened when we are uh, becoming responsible, and we are evidencing this all orderliness. Evidencing is imminent after enlightenment upon attaining definitive understanding. When we become ready to evidence it and set forth to communicate it to the world, we attain realization in the process. So these are basically outcomes of our understanding, right? So we need not focus on them, but rather just be working towards, as it said here, upon attaining definitive understanding, when we become ready to evidence it and set forth. So basically, we set forth to communicate. That is the thing. After we have understood, we will most certainly be setting forth our efforts and our, not exactly all of our wealth to be that way, because we also be living in orderliness, set forth to communicate to the world. So that is the agenda here of the person who is enlightened. And we have always seen that that happens in other various traditional ways of taking these things forward, is that the person thinks of the world and how it can reach the rest of the world, right? Students will attain enlightenment only after the teacher's realization. In this way, every person will impart enlightenment to others only after they have attained realization. Okay. So this is very interesting. It means that if a teacher is not enlightened, does it mean that they'll not be able to teach? Students will attain enlightenment only after the teacher's realization. So this sentence is very curious. Does it imply that a student who has learned from a teacher who is not enlightened will therefore not be realizing?
Teacher here doesn't mean the school teacher. It may
Uh-huh.
be someone from whom you are learning.
Hmm.
So if someone is learned, there are chances that you will also learn from that person. In that
Hmm.
reference, he is talking about the teacher. So here
Hmm.
we can say Babaji as our teacher, or
Right.
those who have learned, have better knowledge than us, they
Uh,
can be our teachers. So the
Right.
teacher is not in the sense that the school teacher or the
Hmm.
teacher who is imparting certain
Hmm.
other topics other than the real life.
Right.
So, of course, I think it is directed towards someone who has,
Hmm.
yes, rightly written, someone
Hmm.
who is already awakened, that
Right.
can be your teacher.
Right.
जागृत व्यक्ति जैसे दीदी ने लिखा.
Hmm. Right. So I think we are not supposed to be so much into the blind, because if we are studying Jagrat Vyakti anyways, But then again, it says here students will attain enlightenment only after the teacher's realization. Hmm. So are we students then, or are we the, what can we call ourselves in this sentence? If we are looking at it, students will attain enlightenment
अभी
only.
भैया दो चीजें हैं, जैसे अध्ययन की परिभाषा जो बाबा जी ने दी है. So there are two विधिज that you can attain realization, I think वो कहना चाहते हैं. इसको और अगर आप जो कह रहे हैं ठीक बात है, इसको अगर और इसको contemplate करें तो एक होता है जो टीचर वो रियलाइज हुआ है ना, जैसे वो जागृति को पाया है किसी ने, अनुभवित व्यक्ति है, तो वो एक अध्ययन प्रोसेस है जिसमें ही इज एनलाइटन विथ अधिष्ठान की साक्षी में, मतलब आत्मा
Hmm.
और जो अस्तित्व की मतलब सह अस्तित्व, आत्मा और अस्तित्व के साथ का जो सह अस्तित्व है, उसमें जो अनुभव होता है वो एक होता है. और दूसरा होता है अगर एक जागृत व्यक्ति है तो वो स्टूडेंट्स जो शिष्य है, तो शिष्य का होना तभी होता है जब गुरु के सह अस्तित्व में शिष्य का होना होता है. तो यहाँ पे दो चीजें हैं जो शिष्य गुरु कहा है, एक है जो अनुभव व्यक्ति है और शिष्य, और दूसरा अगर पर्सन जैसे बाबा जी थे, है ना, तो मुझे लगता है उनके उसमें उनकी आत्मा और मतलब उनकी अधिष्ठान आत्मा की अधिष्ठान की साक्षी में, मतलब जो बुद्धि है, तो दैट वाज द मार्गदर्शक. तो मैं ये समझ रही हूँ, जस्ट करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग, बट इसको आपने जो कहा है इंग्लिश में ये अगर देखें तो जरूर से वो एक प्रश्न उठता है कि स्टूडेंट्स एनलाइटनमेंट मिलेगा सिर्फ एक टीचर्स की रियलाइजेशन से ही, तो ये क्योंकि बाबा जी ऑलरेडी इज टॉकिंग अबाउट जागृत परंपरा, तो उसके एक्सटेंशन में हम ये देखेंगे कि वो जागृत व्यक्ति के सानिध्य में ही स्टूडेंट एनलाइटन होंगे, ऐसे मैं समझ रही हूँ.
Right. Yeah, so it's not such as a black and white. I think it's very how shall I put it? If we attain something from somebody, and we are knowing that there is more than जिसको कहते हैं श्रेष्ठता का सम्मान, we have this inbuilt compass that tells us that we are more or less knowledgeable than the person who's in front of us. So respect for excellence, basically, and we are realizing that how Babaji's words are more in tune and in line with existence, and so for us as students, we are clearly the ones which are learning from that realized person. So definitely this is the sentence that is actually saying that हाँ हम लोग ऐसे कर सकते हैं और हम लोग भी enlight और realization पा सकते हैं, right? So in this way, every person will impart enlightenment to others only after they have attained realization. Enlightenment will not happen merely by speaking. We listen to something, accept it, and then devote ourselves to exploration. This is the path I took. However, I believe most people will follow the path of study, realization, and evidencing. So, he had taken the path which is what is it? We listen to something, accept it, and then devote ourselves to exploration. So basically, Babaji has said that listen, he has heard something, he has accepted it, and then he devote himself to exploration. This is the path I took, right? So that's what the path he's saying. He has taken that path. However, I believe most people will follow the path of study, मतलब अध्ययन, realization, मतलब सीइंग इट, स्वनिरीक्षण एंड परनिरीक्षण से देख करके पूरा चीज़ को रियलाइज करके, एंड देन एविडेंसिंग बेसिकली इज आउटकम ऑफ हैविंग द नॉलेज. सो एविडेंस इज नीड नॉट बी इवन काउंट हियर बिकॉज यू आर एक्चुअली जस्ट गोइंग टू बी evidencing based on your understanding. So studying, adhyan and realization in the existence, that is the most important part, right? The rest, the evidencing part happens automatically. है ना भैया? गणेश भैया, एम आई राइट?
अध्ययन, अनुभव और प्रमाण, ये तीनों चीजें आ गई. तो यहाँ जो बेसिकली व्हाट आई हैव अंडरस्टूड इज दैट बाबा जी सेइंग बिकम्स इजी फॉर द स्टूडेंट enlightenment for if the teacher is realized. But
Hmm.
Babaji is giving his example that he accepted certain things,
Hmm.
but we know from his experience that he also didn't accept certain things and did
Hmm.
his own exploration. And
Right.
in that exploration, he was able to get certain things. And he said, now you can study the things which I have understood with
Right.
exploration. So you
Right.
need not to go to that path. But my
Right.
personal opinion is that once we are reading these things and we
Hmm.
find something which needs to certain exploration, then
Hmm.
it should be done, and it is being done at
Right.
various universities, and detailing of each and everything is being done, research is being done. So
Hmm.
that exploration will continue.
Right. बढ़िया. So, yes, if we have that curiosity still within us, then definitely exploration is the quenching for that. But yes, as we as Babaji has said here, studying and then realization. Uh, I think Jeevan is जिसको कहते हैं ना अक्षय बल and अक्षय keep on
शक्ति
forgetting. Akshay
Shakti,
Shakti,
Shakti.
right? So through these qualities of the Jivan, I think it's also able that we are able to this realization word is actually can be linked with the Jivan's ability. I think that's what we are guided to because uh, merely by just studying and reflecting it within ourselves, we are seeing that it is able to give us a sense of understanding. That means that the Jivan is able to understand, right? So that means that studying also is giving the reflection within us and we are understanding it. So the realization happens within us. And then henceforth, we are then conducive now towards those realizations and then we act in and talk and evidence that accordingly to that way. So, uh, yeah, so the Jivan's powers should not be underestimated. I think I believe let's see, exploration, is it necessary in today's day and age? I mean, even gravity, for example, it's written in the textbooks. We don't always keep on dropping the apple from the apple tree. So definitely, ठीक है, exploration is maybe necessary for some time, but I think this philosophy, according to me, I have not any found any questions or queries henceforth. Then I may also saying that if 99% of my answers are quantified and given answer to, then the 1% which I am remaining with definitely is not needed to be tested or checked or anything like that. Um, a very good example of is this. We're actually going to run out short of time, but let me just say it. A good example of this was when I was thinking of um, let's say that there is something called miracles or miraculous some sort of activities that happens on this earth, right? So that was very curious of me to explore that part, but then Babaji literally like kicked that thing out of the picture because that is really resulting to uh, what is the word, पाखंड को क्या क्या कहते हैं इंग्लिश इंग्लिश में, like basically misusing somebody or exploiting someone, right? तो छल करके or something like that, you just basically uh, like manipulate, right? So these are the kind of ways that uh, these ways of doing miracles are actually a way of manipulation. So uh, they need not have any sort of future in this place of realization. So after that I said, okay, yes, maybe this there is no place and there's no need for believing in this sort of miracles. Whatever it is, we don't need to clearly exit them from the whole of our existence. But yes, there is no point of doing any study of them also. uh, Especially I'm talking about these spirits or this black magic or all these things. Even Africa has a very big inclination towards this because this is something that is creating a sort of superiority. If somebody is a magician, they are respected, they are given reverence and all this kind of gifts. Yeah, they're given, they are also feared in one way. So yes, again leading to mysticism, there is no point to it because basically it's just about manipulating, misusing, and all these kind of things happen with that. And so I said, okay, yeah, there is no point of asking the question also, or for that matter, exploring it also. So yes, we are out of time again, and we will meet tomorrow. If anybody has any question, we have a couple of minutes. But yeah, बहुत बढ़िया session था, and yes, we can have as many as people as they are joining. We also would like involvement, as I keep on saying every time. But yeah, I think it's going well, and the
Yeah,
periodic.
I would like to know the difference between realization and enlightenment.
हाँ. Can anybody else on the panel try to help?
क्योंकि मैं समझ रही हूँ रियलाइजेशन शायद साक्षात्कार को बोलते हैं, पर यहाँ पे जो वो सेंटेंस लिखा था कि स्टूडेंट्स को एनलाइटनमेंट तभी होता है व्हेन द टीचर का रियलाइजेशन होता है, तो मतलब टीचर रियलाइजेशन मतलब वो जागृत होता है ऐसे,
रियलाइजेशन तो दीदी अनुभव को बोलते हैं, अनुभव।
और एनलाइटनमेंट मतलब कि
जागृत.
रोशनी कह लीजिए आप कि वो बच्चे को एक रोशनी दिखा दी, एनलाइटन कर दिया, उस
अच्छा
तरह की बात हो रही है। वो रियलाइज नहीं हुआ। एक अच्छा टीचर, एक जैसे जो बेटर लोग हैं, जिनको बेटर नॉलेज है, दे कैन एनलाइटन अस दैट दीज आर द थिंग्स और द वे हाउ यू कैन मूव फॉरवर्ड इन 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 दिस पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्शन ऑफ रियलाइजेशन एंड एविडेंसिंग। वो एनलाइटनमेंट तो मैं उस रेफरेंस में देख रहा हूँ, बट यस बाकी लोग बता
अनुभव के
सकते हैं इसको।
लिए वो स्टूडेंट का खुद का जर्नी होगा फिर आगे, ऐसा है।
हम्म,
ओके, वो
यस
उसकी रोशनी में, उनके वो अनुभव
यस।
की रोशनी में वो, सही बात है आप जो कह रहे हैं, ठीक है अभी समझ में। जी जी बिल्कुल।
बढ़िया. So we'll meet tomorrow, same time. I think we don't need to change the time. Let's get through this book, and then we'll again schedule some other time for the books. And yeah, let's meet tomorrow. Everybody, have a good night. Thank you.